By default, AutoCAD sets up the UCS in a world coordinate system. That means that the origin is at coordinates 0, 0, 0, and that angles facing east or to the right side of your screen start at 0 degrees. Now, there are times when you need to work with a different coordinate system. An example of that might be of a surveyor needing to work with a coordinate system that is offset, possibly rotated, from a specific point of commencement or some other land-based marker. Now, this will allow the surveyor to work in a coordinate system very easily that is relative to the property boundary, but yet still relative to its referenced real-world coordinates. Now, another reason to rotate your UCS is to draw in an isometric or rotated plane. Now, to change all these settings, we use the UCS command to create or change a UCS. Just type in UCS on the command line. That's the easiest way to get to it. Or you can go to the Visual tab on the ribbon. Now, by default, they've turned that off. So that's okay. If you just come up to this top bar right above the panels here in the ribbon where a tab would be, but it's kind of blank, right-click on it, and you can make some slight customizations to some of the things you have here. If you go to the Show Tabs option, you can see here that the Visualize button has been turned off. Just select it, and that will load up a visual tab for your ribbon. Now, there are a lot of different 3D modeling options in here, but it's one of the best ways to get to your coordinate system controls. So you can also get to it here, and you can get to a lot of different things. You can show the UCS icon, you can get to the UCS icon properties, or you can just get to the UCS command right here. If you select it, it starts it up, and you can put your UCS wherever you want it to be. You can put it into a new location or wherever you would like. Now, you'll note here, once you start the UCS command, that you have a lot of different options available to you. You can create a new UCS based on any of the options listed there. You can also get to a lot of these options simply by right-clicking on top of the UCS icon. You can go back to your world coordinate system just by selecting the world option. Or you can create a new UCS. You can select that by origin. So you just pick a new point, and there's the UCS. And you can see that little box is off in the corner. That tells you that this is a customized user coordinate system. It's not the world coordinate system. So if I select the UCS, I also get some grip options, which we'll talk about later on. But if I right-click on it, click World, that puts me back to my regular world coordinate system. So if I have a line, or any other object, but I'm just going to pick a line, and I right-click on my UCS icon, and I select the Object option. I pick an object, and as you can see, it gives me a little preview. That becomes my new user coordinate system. So it moves my UCS to a new origin, and it rotates it to match the angle of that object I selected. So now if I draw a line, and I turn on my ortho by pressing F8, it locks me into these orthogonal lines, which are normally perfectly horizontal or vertical, but in this case, it's matching the horizontal and vertical of my new user coordinate system. So this is a great tool, as you can see, quite easily to draw things at specific angles. Now, when you work in 3D, the UCS is key. Now, there's a function called the Dynamic UCS feature that will automatically change your UCS to match the face of an object, allowing you to draw on that same plane as the object is selected. That's probably one of the most commonly used cases of changing your user coordinate system is when you're working in 3D. Now, that's getting a little bit heavy, of course, for this course, but it's hard enough to keep track of just 2 axes, much less, 3 or 4 or 5 different coordinate systems that you might want to use. So we're going to try to keep it more simple for you in this introduction. So you can create your new UCS from scratch by picking a couple of different points. You can even select the icon and just rotate it or move it. Of course, my ortho is on, so I'm going to turn that off. And as you can see here, it's quite simple to just rotate the UCS that way. You can grip edit it just to move it to a new place or to make slight rotations, whatever you need to do. Now, after you create a new UCS, you might want to save it. In fact, you probably are going to really need to, in case you want to use it or go back to it later on. So create the UCS like we've described, using any of these methods as you want. Now, if you come up to the Visualize tab again, and you see here we have unnamed, world, top, bottom, etc., I can click on this little button right here. It says Flyout, and this will get me to my UCS Manager. So I can get to it that way, which is a real easy way to manage it, or I can come up here to my UCS named UCS option. I can select that, gets me back to the same place. And if I go to my UCS icon, right click on it and click on the named UCS option. So when I come here, it tells me I have two different options. Essentially, I can go back to world coordinate system. If I select it and hit the set current option, then that's where it will take me. It'll set this selected UCS as my current UCS. Now I can select the previous one, and that will take me back to whatever UCS I was using right before the current one. Now this is the current one and it's unnamed. If I select inside this box, once I pick it again, I can give it a name. I'm just going to call it Custom 1, press Return. Set current, and it's current. I click OK, and I have it saved in here now whenever I want to use it. So let's say I go back to my world coordinate system. And if you note here, I'll open up my UCS Manager, go to my named UCS. I have the Custom 1 as a possibility. I select it to highlight it and then hit Set Current. Click OK, and it brings me right back to where I was. So if you go to the trouble of creating a custom user coordinate system, then you really need to save that in case you need to go back and continue working where you were before. So that's one trick that you can use to help you work in a different coordinate system and to manage that as well. Using a rotated UCS is great for isometric drawings, as you could probably see. But AutoCAD does have a specific mode for that called isometric mode. This allows you to toggle your rotation very quickly and is actually quicker and easier to use than UCS. Let's open up our drafting settings dialog box by right-clicking the snap icon in the status bar. So you come down here, right-click on it, go to snap settings. So go to the snap type option here and click on the isometric snap. That's what you're going to want to do. You want to turn that on. That will turn on isometric mode, and click OK. So now you see here, you have a sort of skewed and diamond-shaped set of crosshairs. So let's start drawing. If I draw here and I turn on F8, this will lock me into isometric mode so that I can now draw 3D isometric set of line works. So I can kind of draw an isometric view of a cube. So I can come down here and I can press F5 to toggle through my different isometric planes. And you can see as I toggle through them, my axes change. And so by very quickly pressing the F5 button, I can very easily draw whatever it is I need to draw. It looks like I've drawn a 3D box, though I've never left my 2 dimensions. So whereas drawing with UCS can make an isometric easy, it can, but it's in one plane only. So you have to keep changing your UCS to get that special look that you need. You can also use the isometric settings, and you can go to that just by right-clicking on the snap settings, click the snap settings button, and make sure the snap type is turned to isometric to do that special view. And you press the F5 button to toggle through, or you can click here on the status bar to toggle through the different isometrics, tops, and other views that you want. And when you're finished, make sure you turn this back. And there you go. So you can see how a UCS that you've customized can really help you out in making specialized drawings.